Welcome back to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. As always, we appreciate you listening. Please rate us on all the podcast platforms. Like, subscribe, comment, share wherever else you're listening, and enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to another episode. We appreciate you coming back. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. If you are on any of the podcast platforms, please subscribe and rate us with a 1, 2, 4, 7, however many stars you can give us. We appreciate you listening, as always. We want to thank Adam Chubbuck with Douglas Realty in Pasadena, Maryland. That's TACMD.com. That's TACMD.com. Team Alpha Charlie with Douglas Realty in Pasadena, Maryland. Give them a call and schedule an appointment with Adam to discuss what might be right for you in this real estate market, whether it be buying, selling, investing. If you need contacts in the mortgage industry, he's got contacts in the mortgage industry that can get people financed that normally get financed. Or if you just need a better rate, maybe his guy can get you a better rate than you already have right now. So go to TACMD.com. That's TACMD.com. Give Adam a call and see what he can do for you. All right. Speaking of what Adam can't do, is make Shaduer Sanders a good quarterback, even though everyone says he's good. Because apparently he's not great, even though his dad thinks he's amazing.
Lord, it's like daddy ball in NCAA Division I.
Yeah.
Like that's what, like, you know, where they leave. He was in HBCU, right?
So he started off at Jackson State, which is an HBCU.
Yeah.
Then went to Colorado with his dad.
But his dad coached Jackson State too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this might be probably the best sales job we've ever seen by a family who has mastered social media. Like, so for example, and they started it at Jackson State, and it's not just Dion and Shaduer and Shiloh. So Shaduer and Shiloh were the players. They played on the team. Mm-hmm. Well, Dion's got another, I believe it's Dion Jr., who handles the social media stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's got like this whole production team that follows people, like follow the players around with like legit cameras, putting it on social media. So it's well produced. And their sole job is to make the program that Dion is a part of and the brothers look as good as possible. Mm-hmm. And they did that. They did their job very, very well. Enough to fool professional, what's the word I'm thinking about? Professional talking heads.
Okay.
Supposed TV evaluators.
Like your Stephen A. Smiths of the world.
And Mel Kiper. Like even Mel Kiper and Todd McShay. Like they thought he was going to be the number 1 or 2 quarterback taken. He was the 5th quarterback taken. And he was taken in the 5th round. Mm-hmm. So for someone who the Sanders family tried to pump up as the best quarterback in America, went in the 5th round, and the reasons of why are swirling. And the reasons that have come up is he's just not that good.
That's my reason.
He tanked interviews with teams he didn't want to go to and essentially limited his reach to 5 teams. Mm-hmm.
Was Cleveland one of them?
I don't believe so. If it were me, I wouldn't want to go to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Like no quarterback has gone to Cleveland and been good. None.
It's where they go to die.
Right. I mean, you look at Baker, you can say, well, Baker Mayfield. Well, Baker Mayfield went and he became good when he left.
Yeah.
I mean, Johnny Manziel flamed out. Tim Couch flamed out.
Yeah.
Brock, the guy they traded 17 draft picks and a bag of chips to Houston for. Brock, I don't remember Brock Osweiler.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. Like, nobody works out there. Deshaun Watson hasn't worked out there.
Mm-hmm. RG3 went there.
Oh, yeah, that went well.
Yeah.
Although that's a whole nother topic. He's apparently thinks he's God on a microphone too. But essentially, like, I think it was probably the biggest con played on America. For football-wise, not like all of America. But
Right.
Like to the point where like Mel Kiper was like, "Oh, this is a travesty that he's fallen so far." Is it though? Watch the tape, Mel.
Yeah.
The thing, while he's the most accurate quarterback in NCAA quarterbacking history, because he had like a 74% completion percentage, but that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
I mean, you could throw 74% and get on screens, and just throw screens.
Yeah.
It also helps that he had a first round wide receiver in Travis Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And the weird thing about it all, though, is it seems like it somehow became racial.
Yeah, that's what got me.
It's like if you thought he was a 5th round pick, you were the white devil. Even though other black people said the same shit.
Yeah.
They got called all sorts of names.
Weren't there black quarterbacks taken ahead of him?
Oh, you mean like the first one?
Right.
The first overall pick in the draft? Yes, he is black, by the way. Cam Ward from University of Miami.
But it wasn't like it was like they picked all like the Peyton Manning looking quarterbacks above him.
I don't know. I think there were 2 white kids out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
The other 3 guys are black.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I guess one is Hawaiian. I don't know where that falls. He's more of a Tua.
Well, it depends on who you ask. That might be white adjacent.
Right. The black face of white supremacy.
I'm trying to figure that one out.
The biggest strange point to me, well, and we can get back to the whole racial tone of it, but he went to the Browns. Well, earlier in the draft, the Browns already picked the quarterback in Dylan Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, on the Browns roster, you've got Deshaun Watson, who's supposedly the number 1, although I don't know if his injury is going to hold him out. Joe Flacco is back.
Joe Flacco.
You got Kenny Pickett also signed, he started a few games, so he's got experience.
He started a season.
And then you've got this draft pick, Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
And then you've got Shaduer Sanders. Mm-hmm. He's number 5 right now. How much shit is going to get thrown around if Shaduer Sanders doesn't make the team?
Yeah.
So think about it. You're only going to carry 3 at most, one of which is an emergency quarterback. So let's say Watson is your number 1, Flacco's probably your number 2, Pickett is probably your emergency quarterback.
There's 4 and 5.
But then what are you going to your high round draft pick is just going to go nowhere. So okay, maybe Pickett's gone.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get rid of the other draft pick you had for Shaduer. So Shaduer's still on the outside looking in as number 4. So at that point, he's got to pass through waivers to get to a practice squad. Mm-hmm. You don't think someone else is going to pick him?
Yeah.
And stash him on their practice? So is he a practice squad player? Like, we got sold that he was a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a practice squad player.
Well, then I wonder how much of this is teams don't feel like dealing with his dad.
I think that's partially true, though. Dion doesn't have a bad reputation in the NFL.
Yeah.
Just doesn't.
I liked him when he was in Baltimore. He was with the Ravens for maybe a season or 2. He played. He was with the Commanders while they were the Redskins, and I thought he did okay in Baltimore. It wasn't Baltimore's best years.
No, but I mean, everyone remembers Dion for being a Falcon and a Cowboy.
Yeah, I remember him for being a Brave.
Well, or that, or a Red.
Yeah,
or is it Reds? Cincinnati Reds.
The Reds.
So if you play on it, are you a Red or a Reds? Comment down
I'm
below.
going to say a Red. Because the Orioles.
You're an Oriole.
Right. So you're a Red. Just like you're a Brown.
I guess.
Shaduer is a Brown.
A Brown. Unfortunately for him.
Yeah.
Like if there was one play, like if there was one team that you would say don't draft me, it's the Browns.
Well, you just have players that would hold out.
Right.
Like you remember Peyton Manning got drafted by the Chargers, right?
No,
Eli.
So no. So Archie Manning said if you draft him, he's not going.
Yeah.
And so they didn't draft him. Actually,
right.
No. Maybe they did draft him, and I think maybe they traded the pick with the Chargers for Ryan Leaf. Maybe that's how. Oh no, Ryan Leaf was Peyton. Who was he? It was Rivers.
Yeah,
Phillip Rivers. It was the number 1 pick and the number 3 pick. And I think you're right. I think they drafted him and then they swapped picks.
Yeah.
And then the other racial part of it that came out was they were like, well, nobody was telling Archie Manning not to do it. Like, you weren't alive back then, because they most certainly panned the Manning family.
Oh yeah,
for that move.
Well, and I mean, the same thing happened in hockey with Eric Lindros. They thought Eric Lindros' dad was a big, because he said, "I'm not playing for Quebec," and the Nordiques drafted him, and then there was a huge trade. The Flyers gave up all kinds of, which essentially turned Quebec into a contender, and then they moved to Colorado, got Patrick Waugh, started winning Stanley Cups. So it's like, with most, like, Forsberg was a Flyer, that's how all those players got there. So it was the big Lindros deal.
Yeah.
And he got a bunch of shit for that too.
Right. And so, but like, these people can't stand a strong black man. It's like, well, wait a minute. The number 1 pick of the draft was a strong black man.
Yeah.
So, like, it's like they were trying to make it racial. Everyone, like, and the best part about it was, it seemed like the social media aspect of this, people were like, what the fuck are you talking about? Mm-hmm. Like, none of this shit was racial.
Yeah.
But then, of course, well, he's not the type of black person that you all can handle. Meaning, and they did this shit with Lamar, like, because I guess, Lamar's a real one. Like, are you kidding me? Okay, so white people can only accept black people if they walk and talk a certain way. That's what it is now. It's like, I hate to tell you something. Whenever you go to get a job, you have to impress the people that have the job, because you have the job. You want the job that they have.
Right.
It's like anytime you go into a bank, if you need a loan and you're going to go talk to the loan officer, you're going to go dressed to impress the loan officer, because that's what you got to do. Mm-hmm. Well, that applies to everybody, though. So it's one of those things, like, I can't go looking like B-Rad to go get a job. I'm probably not getting hired.
Right.
If I got to go looking more like, Steve from accounting if I want to get a job.
Yeah. If you want to be Steve from accounting, if you want to be Alex from accounting, you got to go in there looking like Alex from accounting.
Right.
You can't look like Alex from the mailroom.
Right. Or Alex that deals drugs in the corner. You can't look like that. You got it. It's called dressing to impress.
Well, you dress for the job you want.
Correct. Yeah. And so I do wonder, the other part of this is, did they overplay their hand? Did they essentially go to 5 teams and say, well, we're willing to go to you? Like, he was going to be God's gift, right?
Yeah.
And told the other 26 teams, don't draft my kid. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, now you're in the 5th round. They're probably doing some damage control, saying, hey, it's okay, you can draft him now. And they're all like, fuck no, we met him. He was a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like, there's some, and of course, all the football people, and again, it became racial again. Oh, if you're going to say that before the draft, you better not put anonymous after your name. Well, of course they put anonymous after their name.
Yeah.
Because they were going to get shit for it, even if it was the truth.
Yeah.
Okay, he did go in there and he tanked the interview on purpose. He went in there. He didn't study the playbook that they asked him to study. Like, he tanked this shit. Just call it what it is. Like, be accountable, which he's never going to do, but be accountable. Say you tanked it because you were trying to force their hand to get you to a certain team, and it backfired on you. It was no other reason than that. You weren't as good as you thought you were. You tried to strong arm the world's, probably one of the world's biggest sports leagues into getting to where you wanted to go. Mm-hmm. But you didn't have the talent to do that.
Yeah.
Like, you were not Eli Manning's talent out of college.
Right. Well, and the thing is, I liked them at Jackson State because they were doing really, like, they were playing good football, and It's a small school. It's a HBCU. They're doing well. I thought it was I liked the story. Mm-hmm. Then they leave to go to Colorado, and I think were they there for 2 years together?
I believe so. Yeah.
Nothing spectacular.
No.
Fair to Midland at best. And all of a sudden, this guy's touted as the next quarterback. And now, in full disclosure, I don't watch a lot of college football. There are too many teams. Doesn't mean anything in the end. Now with NIL, it's just another pro sports league. Mm-hmm. And I have some talk about NIL after this. I just remembered it. But it's kind of ruining the whole thing. Like they're not amateurs. They're not student athletes. They're athletes that play at a school.
Yeah.
Now they're getting paid to do it. So now look, and I don't. It's not like I'm something like the NCAA is an evil organization. Mm-hmm. They're making money hand over fist over these kids, and the kids aren't getting anything for it. They should retroactively go back and pay some of these dudes.
They got struck down in court every time they try and go back.
Yeah. So, you think of how much money they made off of the different video games and their name wasn't in it, but you knew who that person was.
Right. I think the cool thing about Deion going to HBCU was that he got Travis Hunter to go there. Travis Hunter was the number 1 recruit in the nation, mm-hmm. and he went to an HBCU. That was impressive.
Yeah.
And he also got some of these other NFL players to go to these other HBCUs and start those programs, although some of them went, I don't know if people remember, but Ed Reed was supposed to be the head coach of Bethune-Cookman, and they fucked him over, mm-hmm. and he made that shit public. He's like, this shit's corrupt as fuck. Mm-hmm. And so he basically put the HBCU on blast.
Yeah.
Like, that did the opposite of what you wanted. But, and for the most part, Jackson State kind of screwed Deion over, where they had promised him like improvements to the stadium, improvements to, hey, I'm going to bring eyes here and money here. You need to do your end of the bargain, and they didn't. Mm-hmm. That's eventually why he ended up leaving. Yeah. The Colorado situation, I don't know why he went to Colorado of all places, but I don't really care. I do think Shaduer ended up looking better because of the talent Deion attracted to the school. So he was able to surround his kid with top level talent. Yeah. But the weird thing is, like, they tried to explain it away, saying, because everyone's like, well, he holds the ball too long, he takes too many sacks, and then they try to spin it, well, he had an awful offensive line, so you're going to throw other kids under the bus for your own? Now, I don't know if Deion was the one that said it, but other people were. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, come on now. Like, you're not going to throw teammates under the bus to boost your own stock when you realize your stock is going down. It's kind of like you just got to take your lumps. You're going to fall, we're going to fall. And don't get me wrong, the kid doesn't exactly put out a great impression amongst older folks. Mm-hmm. Let's put it that way. Like the people that are doing the commentating, it's like, okay, you say you're not a silver spoon kid, but you're a silver spoon kid.
Oh, he's a straight up nepo baby.
Right.
Like,
but the thing is that, like, I've got no problem with nepotism. I really don't. It happens all over the country, all over the world. Mm-hmm. I have no problem with it. The problem is when the kid doesn't think it's nepotism. It's like, look, boss, you were allowed to create this elaborate draft room. You've got these, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars hanging around your neck. If you want people to take you seriously, you have to at least present some kind of humbleness. That, yes, I am. It's kind of like the whole white privilege thing, right? You've got to admit you've got rich privilege, and that's what got you to this point.
Right? Yeah. No one likes the guy that's born on third base and acts like he hit a triple.
Right. Yeah, and he just gives off that And don't get me wrong, if that's how he wants to be, that's how he wants to be. But if you're going to be a public person, you got to accept the shit that comes with it, and not bitch about it. Now, to his credit, the words that come out of his mouth don't really say that stuff. It's people around him, the other people commenting on him. Now, the anonymous sources also said that he acted that way in those private meetings. So maybe in private he does act like that. I don't know. If he is, he's got to understand that, if you're going to go into a job interview and you're going to present yourself as a self-made person when everyone in the room knows you're not a self-made person.
Yeah.
Especially if your dad was your coach. I mean, but the same thing could be said for the Mannings. I mean, the Mannings were Archie Manning's kid. Now, Archie Manning didn't play in the NFL when they made all that kind of money, but Archie was not a poor guy.
No.
Like, his kids were going to the 5-star quarterback comp. But, I mean, a lot of the quarterbacks today are.
Yeah.
That's their path. So, it's almost like it's like NBA basketball players saying how, like, they grew up poor. Like, no, you didn't. The AAU circuit doesn't allow you to grow up poor. Mm-hmm. They funnel money to those kids.
Yeah.
Like, by the time they're 11, 12 years old, they're making money because teams are paying the parents for the kids to go play on the teams. You should see the team. Like, the player movement in AAU is ridiculous.
So I don't know a lot about AAU, but I think I should probably look into it. It'll probably piss me off.
It will. It will definitely piss you off.
So, speaking of movement or money, it got me thinking about some of these. I think I sent you a bunch of different Instagram and Facebook profiles of kids, kid athletes, and you see them there very clearly. If you actually go and look at the page, and because I follow, I follow a lot of baseball, sports related stuff, I get a lot of these things just pop up in my feed as like, hey, you may be interested in this, that. So you look at them, and if you look at the profile, you'll open it up and you'll see like this page is managed by, little Aiden's dad for collaboration and sponsorship opportunities. Contact Caden's dad at douchebag1@gmail.com, whatever the hell it is.
Right.
So, and then you see it like they have. So you and I both coach youth sports. I coach 10U. My oldest plays 13U. So I'm around these kids. They have somehow felt the need to mic them up. So they run around the bases, and then they get there. It's like, let's go! And they're like clapping their hands and like just saying all the things they think they should say and acting the way they think they should act. But when you look at how many followers they have hundreds of thousands of followers. And I can't help but notice if when they go to these schools later on, if that's what they're trying to build to, a bigger NIL deal. So they go there like, hey, we're already bringing 1 million followers via social media. We're going to bring all those followers to your program. And our parents, the parents are clearly doing this. I don't think it's the 9-year-old kid that's doing it. Mm-hmm. And the kids are covered in drip. They've got the sliding mitt. They've got all this, they've got the ankle guard and the elbow guard for the 35-mile-an-hour heater they're about to face. They've got the pit vipers. They've got, I don't know if you noticed in baseball, I freaking hate to look. It's their shorts. The pants are going above the knee.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a terrible look. Like the kids have to wear leggings or super long socks so that there's no skin showing. Mm-hmm. So they're dressed up like baseball players. And then you watch them play, like, you kind of suck. Like, you're not very good.
Right.
There's one kid he's in Mexico, and he swings, like, they have all these videos, and it's him walking up to the plate with his walk-up music and his chains and his drip. They never show him actually, like, he swings to contact, and the video cuts. I guarantee the kid just fouls it off. Because if he was good, they'd show the hit, right?
Right.
They show none of this kid's hits, or he gets walked, or he gets hit by a pitch. But there's a bunch of them, and these kids are, like, I look at them like, I bet you that kid's insufferable. Like, because you look at the dad or the mom who's running it, and it's like these guys have to be, and then the kids who they're playing against are all following their walk up. Hey, bro, everything's bro. Like I spent enough time around this age boy through coaching and having three of them on my. Like, I don't want to be around them on my phone,
Right?
But I don't know. You think it's trying to push an NIL deal or
Probably. And the funny part is, probably a lot of those likes and followers are probably paid for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll be dead honest with people. We've never done this, but I've definitely looked into it. Where I want to say 100,000 followers will cost you about $1,000. But with 100,000 followers, you can get a brand deal for like $10K.
yeah,
So I spend $1,000, I make 10.
you should do it.
Right. You could easily, if you do it and you do it a little bit at a time, no one will ever notice it happening.
Yeah.
Oh, you just grew your base naturally. Mm-hmm. No, you didn't. If you were smart about it, you just paid for 50, 60 at a time, 100 at a time, and you grew it month by month by month, and it looks natural. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the followers. Someone in like Barstow, Oklahoma, who's got pimping out their kid on Instagram, if 90% of their followers are Pakistani, Bangladeshi,
Vietnamese,
yeah. I mean, then it came from a click farm.
yeah.
And like, people are like, click farms don't exist. Yes, they fucking do. There's literally, they've shown videos of these things where it's about 100,000 phones set up on like these wooden platforms. Like it looks like wooden stands for phones. Mm-hmm. And there's probably about 100 in each row. And they're all plugged in.
And someone just goes and
they just go through. And it's just one person managing 100,000 smartphones with accounts. Mm-hmm. One what happens? You mark it as spam, they create another one right away. Mark it as spam, create another one.
Yeah.
Mark it as spam. It happens all the time. Mm-hmm. There's websites set up for you to just go. You pay your $1,000. They show you proof that when the job is done, and then they take your money.
wow.
They say you went from on this date you had 100 followers, and on this date you now have 1,100 followers. Mm-hmm. Job complete. Yeah, it's basically, and then you get like a job order saying it's done. Mm-hmm. You look at it and you got your followers.
I wonder, but there should be a correlation with views too.
You would think. So whenever you go on YouTube, if you see someone with like 1 million followers, but let's say they only have like 30,000 views,
yeah,
that's unlikely as hell.
Yeah.
Or it's 30,000 views, but only like, let's say 30,000 views, but let's say you only got like maybe 300 interactions. Also highly unlikely.
Yeah.
And so you can get a better idea if you look at those things, but no one's going to look at it. No one's going to click on the followers to see who they are.
So I have.
Well,
just because I'm curious.
Yeah.
I did it, I think many years ago. I talked about this on an episode. But like, it was young girls, like gymnasts or swimmers or whatever, and you click on it and you look at the profile and it's these younger, girls who are doing gymnastics. But then you go into their page and you see like they're wearing like a bikini and they're posed a certain way and like their mom is running their account and they're like, who's following this? So you click on who's following it and it's all like old dudes.
Yep.
And I'm like, you're pimping your... So either these old dudes don't exist or they're just perverts that this is the closest they can get to kiddie porn. So they watch it because they don't want to go over the edge.
One of the highest paid female athletes,
Libby Dunn?
Libby Dunn. You go on her Instagram, it's all her in the skimpy gymnastics outfits.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at the followers.
I follow Livy Dunn.
It's all fucking dudes.
Yeah.
It's all dudes.
Yeah.
And it's not girls that do gymnastics.
No.
But, I mean, look.
Livy Dunn's also a grown woman.
True.
So.
True. But it always comes down to the age-old thing in marketing. Sex sells.
Yeah.
And these college girls figured it out. It's like Angel Reese. Mm-hmm. Angel Reese has a massive Instagram following.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But she's also shown herself wearing almost nothing in it.
Yep.
And then she wants to, they follow me for my basketball. No, they fucking don't.
No, nobody's following you for
They
basketball.
follow you because you're showing your titties on.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to break it to you.
Yeah, no one's following you. Anyone who would be following you for your basketball is following Caitlin Clark for her basketball. Now, what, Paige Beckers. Like, that's the one that...
And I mean, if they're following Kim, no offense to Caitlin Clark, but she's not exactly a looker.
No.
But they're following, the young girls are following her for the basketball. Not you.
Right. But, and my thing is, like, these moms have to know, and I'm going to say moms because a lot of the pages with the girls, it is a mom. They have to know who's following them.
Sure. Or they just don't care.
Yeah.
Because they've got control over the messaging of it. Mm-hmm. So, like, if they're on Instagram, they see all the kid's not looking at the private messages. Mm-hmm. They probably don't even look at the Instagram account.
Yeah, they just know they have one, and that all the little girl's friends love her because she has, 1 million followers on Instagram.
Well, and probably the mom's like, "Oh, look, you have 1 million followers now."
And that girl's probably just as insufferable as those asshole kids wearing baseball shorts.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's literally, it's the pageant moms.
Yeah.
Well, pageant mom didn't have a girl; she had a boy
who
plays baseball. So she's gonna pimp out her kid. Mm-hmm. It's not her daughter.
Yeah.
It's her son. She's going to pimp him out. Mm-hmm. Because she wanted to be famous too.
Yeah.
And she hates her life. But she gets a lot of satisfaction out of seeing that follower number go up. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't want to be a whore herself.
Right.
It's just like, fuck, man. Like,
so whore out your kid.
Right. So I'm going to whore my kid out because that's the new thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, she can go on OnlyFans and she can make money there, but she probably can't because there's 10 million women on OnlyFans trying to make money that way, right? I mean, there's only so many assholes you can look at. There's only so many sets of tits people want to see.
Yeah.
And if you don't have your niche, no one's gonna come. No one's following you anymore. Someone already beat you to it. So you know what? I'm gonna pimp out my kid instead because there's only 5. There's only 5 Instagram accounts with little kids in drip.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put that out there because...
Well, then they get to hit it. They get to, the people following will be other kids. Mm-hmm. And they know that kids will just watch the same video over and over and over again, which increases their views. Yeah, it makes sense.
The only people who I think should be able to pimp out something are people who pimp out their dogs on Facebook or on Instagram. Mostly because I like watching other people's dogs on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's funny as shit. Don't get me wrong. We've thought about putting Teddy out there on the Instagrams. Well, we don't have any time for that shit. Who has time to run a fucking full-time Instagram account?
Well, that's they do it constantly.
Well, true. Yeah.
So
2-3 videos a day. They're editing all the damn time.
Yeah, I don't have time for that. I post like 2 or 3 times a year. So
I don't even edit this. I don't edit the show. We record it. I literally splice 2 things together. I have AI create the new thumbnail. Mm-hmm. And I slap it all together. It takes me about... Well, the AI thing's a bitch. Doesn't spell words right, for fuck's sake.
Just wait till Skynet figures it out. Then it will.
So I put it like... I use Canva. The Canva one is probably the best one I've tried. And I put in the prompt, and I'm probably not writing the prompt great, right? Because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But I put it in there, and it gives you 4 photos, 4 thumbnails for a show. Mm-hmm. 2 of them have everything spelled right. So then I got 2 to pick from. Or I can have it run it again, get another 4, right? So that's how I created it, though. It's just...
So I'm in this fellowship thing at work.
That sounds like it's a cult.
I mean...
Go on.
I'm a fellow. So I have to engage in all these discussions and like watch all these lectures and all this stuff.
You want to engage in some bondage and rituals that you don't want to speak of here? Okay.
So
go on.
But I have to go, and I'm doing it and I'm typing it up, and then I'm thinking to myself, I should just put this into AI and have them do it, or have Skynet do it. But I feel bad because it's like, well, it's not me. You know, it's not my thoughts. It's just Skynet's thoughts.
What is Skynet? What is the Skynet you're talking about?
From the Terminator.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what I call AI, Skynet.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. What is it? Betadine systems?
Yeah.
I forget what not betadine, but
I'm ashamed.
Cyberdyne.
I'm ashamed
Come
of myself
on.
for not knowing this. Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
Usually I'm the one that hasn't seen the movie.
I gotta put myself in the corner for that one.
Skynet. What's Skynet?
What's Skynet? Oh, that's Skynet.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like a real service called Skynet. Because let's face facts, that could also be true.
Look, if Elon ever got into AI, he's going to call it Skynet.
He's calling it Neuralink, isn't that his?
No, Neuralink is the brain thing that like implants into your brain.
Yeah, that's a bridge too far. I mean, I hope it helps some people walk again, but that's
Yeah.
Let's not roll that out to the masses, shall we?
But no, I'd be calling it Skynet for.
I never got where it was from though. Now I know. Should have known.
Yeah, so I haven't done it, but I don't know where that came from. But yeah, I just with all the money out there, it just really gets to people. Like they can make money off their kids. And look, I have a kid that plays two kids that play travel sports. Like it costs a lot of money. I get it.
Yeah.
But I think it's not they're not doing it for their kids. They're doing it for themselves. And then for the potential, and then the kids start believing their own bullshit and thinking they are that person. Just let them be a kid. So
it's a different world, man. Like it does remind me of the pageant moms, though.
Yeah, it's just
like the whole scenario.
It's the virtual, 21st century social media pageant mom. That's what it is. It's Honey Boo Boo, or what's her name?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, Mama June.
Mama June. Yeah. Yeah, I do think so for the sports kids though, I don't know if they're doing it for NIL money. I would think so, but what if the kids if the kid's got awful, he's not going to make it on a team for NIL to get NIL money, right? So, but I will say this: like if you can manage it and grow followers or whatever, and you're getting paid off of it, if the parent is actually putting money away for the kid, I'm a little bit more okay with it because it's going to benefit the kid, even if they don't go to college.
Yeah.
At least you're giving them something to start life with. But if you're siphoning it off, if you're pulling like a Britney Spears' dad type of thing where you're siphoning off all the money, then no, you're just another, parent piece of shit that's like profiting off your kid because you have no discernible skills,
right?
Other than editing video, But you couldn't create content, so you just filmed your kid because kids are cute.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I know other kids will watch it. So I follow, like I don't follow them, but they still pop up. The ones I sent you, I had to go like search for them and find them because I won't follow them. So they just get views when they pop up on Reels or whatever the hell section of the gram or Facebook that is. So
I mean, if you want to get views and followers, just open up fucking toys on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, people seem to love watching that shit. Or shit, you can watch the stuff we watch. Go mow lawns and video yourself mowing lawns. Because I still watch that shit.
Most of my videos that I watch are like how to fix things that break in my house.
I do watch that too.
So like my ice maker stopped working in my refrigerator. It drives me nuts. I drink ice water all the time, and it drives me nuts. Like what am I, a pioneer?
I'm a no ice. I go no ice in my water.
Really?
Yeah, no ice.
Yeah, I have a giant in this. Cold. This I've got I took a Solo cup and I froze it, filled it with water and froze it. Just dropped the whole thing in here.
It's efficient.
But yeah, it's like, to me, I like cold. So I don't like paying people to fix things. But all this new refrigerators, they're impossible to fix. So my AC broke, but that's now fixed, thanks to my neighbor. Yeah.
Didn't have to replace it?
No, he was able to fix it. It turned out that my emergency heater, when I turned the AC on, would also turn on. So the compressor was doing its thing. He put some more coolant in there, or some more refrigerant, but the cold air would come up and hit the heater element, and then it would just kind of come out like neutral air because they would cancel each other out.
Right.
So, yeah, so just to get it working for the summer, he just disconnected the heater element. We'll worry about that later. But it's like, come on, man. Like, this is, it's not cool. Especially last weekend, like, I'm just dying and sweating my ass off and, not a happy person. So.
I'd rather be cold than hot.
You always put more clothes on.
Very much. I can only take so much off.
Right.
I can't take my skin off.
Right.
That'd be gross.
Big men don't need a reason to sweat.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You were going to talk about the NIL, though. Mm-hmm. What was the other thing when we were talking about Sanders and all that shit?
So, I just...
Oh, was that it?
That's what I was getting into.
Okay.
And, again, I think those kids should be, I see both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
But I really think that NIL is... It's kind of made me like college sports even less. So, because it's you like to think that those football players for Penn State or whatever, like all full of school spirit. And a guy I went to high school with played for Penn State. He was a walk-on, and he loved it. And I think he got into a couple games. But that's who I think goes to these schools. But it's not. And when you look at them, and they're like and hockey's really bad with it. The average freshman in a college hockey program is like 22 years old.
Yeah, because they spent their earlier years in the OHL.
Well,
or the
not the OHL, because there's a prohibition against OHL players in NCAA, which is changing. But they would be in like the NAHL. They'd be going to prep schools.
Right.
Not major juniors, like so in Canada you have the Western League, the WHL, the OHL, and then the QMJHL. So it's like there's three big ones. I think there's a CHL in there, but in any case, the the American junior teams, they play there, and then go to colleges. Now, sometimes you'd have kids that were drafted, NHL draft picks, like for the Capitals. A guy named Leonard played his last game in college, and the very next night was wearing a Capital sweater, playing for the Caps. So these aren't like the 18-year-old kid that was a senior in high school last year, and now he's playing. You get those a couple times, but that's not what it is.
Yeah.
It's the same in football, like NCAA football, where you have these dudes coming in who have kids, and are married, and
of course, the BYU,
yeah.
The Mormons. Come on now. Now, I will say this. So, I was talking with my brother about this, and he basically said there's going to have to end up being a change to Title IX. Because you essentially have two pro sports at the college level, basketball and football.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically is like, it doesn't make sense if the colleges are going to pay the kids for the money to go to non-revenue sports, which is basically every other sport.
Yeah.
No other sport's making money except for football and basketball. That's it.
Yeah.
So why should the lacrosse player get $15,000 that the football players get? Because right now, I think there is something that says you have to distribute it evenly. So it's like, okay, well, the girl on the women's gymnastics team isn't pulling in the same money that the football player is.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to have to be some kind of change that happens where, and I think what eventually happens is the NCAA stays intact for non-revenue sports. But for basketball and football, especially with football, I think what you're going to see is, I think you're going to see 4 16-team leagues. I think it's going to be the SEC, the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's going to have to be the Big 12 and the ACC, right? Those are going to have to be the 4 big ones.
Or someone out west.
But there's the Pac-12 is gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Because isn't USC in the Big Ten now?
So USC, UCLA, and Oregon are in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Stanford went to the ACC. So you literally have Stanford on the Atlantic Coast Conference, and they're sitting on the Pacific Coast, right? So
you can't get much further west.
No, the conference names are done. But the SEC doesn't want to move out of the Southeast. So they basically go from Texas to Florida.
Yeah.
There's no team above the Sun Belt.
Right.
There's no team above, I believe, Kentucky in the SEC. Like geography-wise. The Big Ten is coast to coast, East Coast to West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
The ACC is coast to coast. The Big 12 is not. The Big 12 is still fairly regionalized.
Mm.
Okay. They're going, between those 4 big leagues, they're going to have to absorb some of the others to get to 16 each. And then essentially what you do is you play in the 16-team league. The top 2 or 4 from each league make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's your playoff. And then you keep the bowl system in place.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I think football is going to have to go. And I think they're going to be separate from the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
I think basketball will follow a similar roadmap. The problem is March Madness is so popular because small schools play big schools. And that's what they want to see. Now, don't get me wrong, the ACC tournament, the ACC, the Big Ten Challenge, those are still big. But, people are tuning in to see their small school who made the NCAA tournament as the 64th team. They want to see them play against Auburn or North Carolina. That's what they want to see. Mm-hmm. So it's like you have to preserve that somehow, but also you have to also understand they're going to have to do something with that. And then you've got women's basketball. Okay, should women's basketball get the same money that men's basketball does? Well, if it's not a revenue-generating sport, meaning it doesn't bring in more than it costs, how do you justify that, right? And so there has to be a complete reckoning with how it all works. And until they do, it's going to be a clusterfuck. It just is. You're going to have to split money with non-revenue sports and just be happy about that.
Yep.
But they're never going to do that because the money needed for the revenue sports to get these top players to come is in the millions upon millions of dollars now. That one kid, I can't remember the kid's name. He's a quarterback transferring I think he transferred to Florida State or Florida or Miami, one of those schools in Florida, and he got $8 million. They're not giving $8 million to an entire women's team of anything.
They're not giving $8 million to the rest of the athletic program in the school.
Correct.
Absent basketball.
Right. So there has to be some change that happens there. So I don't even know if the NIL is going to remain as it is right now. I think this is the time we're going to look back on and be like, wow, remember how fucked up it was?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we're going to go to a place where it's still fucked up, but I mean, at some point, the NCAA should just acknowledge that NCAA football and NCAA basketball is the minor leagues of the pro sports.
Yeah.
Just admit it.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, then what do you do? Do you make them go to class?
Well, that's the thing. So whoever it was, you maybe said his name, maybe you didn't. I forget it. That went and got $8 million or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Did his credits transfer? Does anybody care?
Right. Because I think it was Carson Beck. I think is his name. He's going to go to the NFL draft anyway. Mm-hmm. You're right. The credits transferring. Does anyone give a shit?
And then you tell the kid, hey, you have to stay here. It's $8 million. You have to stay here for 4 years.
I do think they signed that contract, though. They need to make it similar to coaches. If you leave, there's a buyout.
Mm-hmm.
If the other school wants to pay the buyout, and the buyout is usually more than what you would earn.
Yeah.
Right? So you sign a contract, you're going to get $8 million. If you leave and go somewhere else before this contract is up, it's a $12 million buyout. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to, basically pay them back everything you earned plus another $4 million.
Yeah.
If you better hope. So when you leave, you need to get a contract that's big enough to cover that and what you want.
Yeah.
But I mean, essentially, but then you end up in a situation like these coaches, where is the school that you're going to pay the buyout? Mm-hmm. Like the coaches that now, like if you go from Maryland to Villanova, and your buyout's $12 million, and Villanova pays the $12 million your buyout, no skin off your back.
Right.
So I don't know. Like,
now, I wonder if they do it. So before it used to be like scholarship money, right? Like that's how they, and like certain sports. So pretty much any sport except football and basketball, the scholarship money, like you could be an NCAA Division I swimmer and receive no scholarship money.
Right.
Lacrosse is another one where they don't, like they only get, say the lacrosse team gets 10 full rides for their program. They might have 1 or 2 kids on that team that are on a full ride. The rest of them are spread out.
Yeah. And actually, the only reason why I know this is because I went through it. It was each team gets 12.
Okay.
I think that's the max.
Yeah. Now, who sets that? NCAA?
NCAA.
But football gets more, obviously.
Right.
Basketball probably gets
different,
more.
Different sports have different amounts.
Because baseball doesn't get, like, you could be.
I think they get 12.
Yeah.
But you got to spread that amongst. And it depends on how many kids you have in your roster. You can carry a smaller roster and give each kid more. But, I mean, when I was in school, I think it was like 30 kids. And they essentially had 4 rides. No, it wasn't. It was. But my school only gave out 4 total. So it was 1 scholarship per year, and you could divide it any way you wanted.
Right.
So you had some kids getting half, maybe 2 kids getting a quarter per grade year, or however they wanted to divvy it up.
Yeah.
Like some years didn't get anything. I mean, now the same school that I went to, they've got 12.
Yeah.
But they have a 50-man roster. The roster is much bigger now.
Now, how does NIL affect Division III? Because D3 was no scholarships.
I got to imagine if you make a name as a D3, the NIL money is NIL money.
Yeah.
There's 2 different pots, apparently. There's the school. So the school gets money donated to it. If the school's going to give it out, I think it's going to be equal amongst all the athletes. Mm-hmm. But you personally can also earn NIL money. And so I think, like, they were talking with Sanders about that. And essentially, Sanders was like, he essentially donated his money back into the pot. Mm-hmm. And because he was making his own NIL money. He's like, I'm not going to take he wasn't going to take it away from other kids.
Yeah. So you could go out and have Nike sponsor you, and it's not coming out of that same pot.
Right.
Now, what I have seen a lot of recently is like hire a Division I athlete to coach your kid virtually. So it'll be, some lacrosse girl or field hockey girl or, baseball dude, like, who will go and mentor your kid, but you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
And prior to NIL, they couldn't have gotten money for that.
No.
Because, like, Manziel got in trouble for signing autographs.
Yeah, it's not a horrible idea if the athlete takes it seriously.
Right.
Otherwise, I mean, look, we both know 18 to 20-year-old kids.
Oh, yeah. You're morons.
Some of them are stupid as shit. Now, some of them are quite personable.
Yeah.
But others are out there still broing each other up. It's like...
So I just hired an 18-year-old version of my 13-year-old to mentor my 13-year-old.
Correct.
And they're the same person. Right. They're both morons.
Right.
Sorry, buddy, you're not a moron.
Yeah. So it's just like, yeah, no, if you're going to hire someone to do that, you want them to be... I don't know. You want them to be someone to look up to, not another of his buddies who's a freaking idiot.
Right.
I could have hired his buddy for that.
He was an idiot.
Right. Could have kept the money local.
Right.
But
I could just flush the money down the toilet on my own.
yeah, I mean, outside of that, outside of like the NCAA creating their own, not the NCAA, the big colleges creating their own. Because at some point, when do they just say we don't have to live by your rules? Like because the NCAA is this overarching organization. Now the NCAA could hold it against them and say, if you pull out of the NCAA, none of your other sports can play.
Yeah.
Now they might just say, screw you, fine, we'll create our own shit for all them too.
Yeah. Like live golf.
Right. I mean, essentially, I mean, if they're already playing each other anyway in conference, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Especially if like all the big SEC schools got together and were like, fuck you. What are they going to do?
So I think that's where the first shoe's going to drop. I think the first shoe drops with the SEC and the Big Ten. Because they're already talking to each other.
Yeah.
They both... So the Big Ten network is the envy of all networks. Because it earns so much money.
Yeah.
I think they also help the SEC create the SEC network. The Big 12, I think they're still using regional sports networks. The ACC has an ACC network, but it's just like it doesn't bring in money like the Big Ten network does. That thing is massive as far as money generation. Which is why colleges flock to it. Like if you get an invite from the Big Ten, you accept it.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're Notre Dame. Notre Dame is the lone holdout, and I don't think they're gonna be able to hold out much longer. Everyone's been saying that for 10 years though. Mm-hmm. I think they're gonna have to give in, and I think the money's gonna be when the money from the conferences gets to be more than the money from NBC that they have their TV contract with.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the day they move into a conference. Now the thing is though, it's like they're just going to use that as leverage against NBC when their contract comes up. Mm-hmm. Say, well, the Big Ten offered us $20 million a year. If you can match that, and they will, because Notre Dame is a draw for college football on Saturdays. People still watch Notre Dame football.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how it's maintained its grip. Because back when I was in high school and stuff, Notre Dame football was bigger, in my opinion, than it is now. Mm-hmm. Like people would Notre Dame football on Saturdays in the Irish community and the Catholic community was stop what you're doing TV. It's Notre Dame's on. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, that's and I mean when you think about it, Notre Dame's a natural fit into the Big Ten. It's right there. So
I do believe so. The only difference is the Big Ten is mostly state universities. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame is not. It's a Catholic university.
Well, University of Michigan's not a state. That's private.
It isn't, but it's also not religious.
Yeah.
I don't think. I guess University of Iowa's in the same boat because there's Iowa State. I think Iowa's the private university, but either way, but they're not religious universities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I guess if Notre Dame was going to pick up the all religion conference, it would be with like BYU and
Liberty,
right? Well, Liberty sucks at it though.
I mean, compared to Notre Dame, BYU does too.
It's true. We should create our own
Yeshiva. I just saw Yeshiva played. I forget. It was both teams someone had to win, and it was baseball, and they'd both been on like 10-year losing streaks.
Oh jeez!
And one of them had to win. I forget who won, but it was Yeshiva and somebody.
Yeshiva. You couldn't write that any better. Oh man, we should do it. We should do an episode where we go over where we create our fantasy college conferences.
Oh yeah,
like the all hotness one, the all religious one.
Yep,
that'd probably be the only funny one. The all religion one. That'd be too easy. But,
yeah, I knew the Wesleyans.
Right. I'll throw my alma mater in there for the Jesuits.
Yeah,
why not for the Friars? It was funny. So my school's going to the NCAA tournament for lacrosse, and I noticed on the side, so the coaches are like hugging each other and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, I see someone who doesn't look like a coach. I'm like, what is he wearing? And it's one of the friars wearing the robes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, dude, it's kind of hot to be wearing the robe.
Does he have like the opposite bowl cut?
I don't think he has that. No.
Friar tuck?
I don't think he's got it. But it was just weird. And he's wearing a hat. Like, dude, a hat doesn't go with the robes. You can't be wearing a baseball hat with the robes.
No. When you see someone like that, and you're like, you just pulled that hat out of the box.
Yes.
Like the brim is flat, and like you just it's not even adjusted.
Looks like a kid with the hat just thrown on top. I'm like, sorry, brother. Yeah, I never knew whether to call him brother or father. They were the friars, so like with the brown robes.
Right.
They're usually brothers.
I think so.
I don't think we ever call them father.
Yeah, I think that's like the priest.
That is a priestly thing. I should know this. I went there for 4 years.
You probably weren't paying attention. Pretty sure you go to mass every Sunday.
I went, oddly enough, I had to go twice a year.
Okay.
For the blessing of the athletes.
Mm-hmm.
It was mandatory.
Yeah.
You had to be blessed. And I was like, well, a little extra help couldn't hurt.
Yeah. There's probably some snacks there too.
No.
Really?
Dude, it was like it was the most traditional looking temple, or I don't even know what the fuck
church.
Is it a church?
Yeah,
sure. They called it something else. We had something called we had a friary on campus, like, where all the brothers lived, where they apparently just went in there and got drunk all the time. Like it was just filled with wine.
Yeah.
They would walk. It was funny. They would walk the campus, and there'd be a party going on. Mm-hmm. They would just come to the party. You would figure like underage kids drinking would probably scatter and run.
Yeah.
No. Hey, brother, you want a beer? No. If they had their cups.
Yeah.
Always. What do you got in there? Don't worry, my son.
Holy water.
Yeah. Right. But they would just walk the ground. Like they would just walk into. Like they'd hear the music. They'd walk in. No one's just like, no.
Right.
But no one's scattering either. Like, isn't this like an adult trying to come in here and tell us not to drink? Like, and they're like, no. They would just come and sit and talk. I'm like, okay. I guess this is normal now.
That's funny.
It's weird. I look back, like looking back, like back then it was normal.
Oh, yeah.
Looking back on it now, I'm like,
right.
Where was the adult supervision? I guess, there isn't any in college, so, maybe they were just like, fuck it.
Self-supervised.
Right. It's just, they're probably like, it's a little bit of alcohol, it'll be fine. We're drinking it anyway.
Yeah.
There's no vow of soberness in Christianity.
No.
Or Catholicism.
No.
Or whatever they are. So. All right, if you like this episode, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. We want to thank Adam Chubbuck with Douglas Realty in Pasadena, Maryland. TACMD.com, that's TACMD.com. Let us know what you think about the NCAA, the NIL, and the Sanders family. Did they overplay their hand, and is he basically screwed because he's with the Browns now? Speaking of which, Justin Tucker got the boot from the Ravens.
He was released.
He was released.
He got his release.
Right? On a scale of 1 to 10, what are the chances he ends up with the Browns?
Oh, 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guaranteed.
That's exactly where he's going. All right, we'll see you guys next week.